Prepare for a dazzling this week with none other than possibly Australia's best yacht rigger and all-round legend, Darrin Danger Mouse Carter. As he applies his genius to help re-rig all the stars in the first part of our three-part re-rig series. So come on, get tangled up with us.
That went pretty well, you could say. I
That's
reckon.
amazing how quickly that happened.
So, after spending a couple of days in what is quite possibly the saddest marina, which doesn't have access to any public transport or anything, we decided to lash out and get a car so we could at least see a bit of Brisbane and get off the boat while we're waiting for the re-rig with Darrin.
Yeah, so we had quite a few factors to consider. If we're going to bother putting all this money and effort into replacing the standing rigging, now's the opportunity while the mast is down to put in the hardware we need for a stay sail, which is a stay sail is pretty mandatory bit of cruising kit for offshore sailing. In case you're unsure, a staysail is illustrated here as the smaller triangle set closer to the mast and is therefore smaller. It is to be used in stronger weather. And there's been so many occasions when I'm sailing, when you're trying to reef furl a furler sail, a big genoa, it just loses its efficiency and starts to flog, and it's just not good for the sail of the boat. So that's where a staysail comes in, and I've deliberated about that for years, but now that I'm here and we've got Darrin's help and you're here and we can do it, it makes so much sense to do that. So that's kind of the decision process.
So we're going to the Botanic Gardens.
Botanic Gardens today.
And the Asian Grocer, which I'm very excited about.
Okay, so we got perfect drying weather here today. It's lovely to see the sun again. We got the mainsail off and rolled up and in a nice tight bundle and dry. And the genoa, as the wind was picking up, we managed to get it down on the deck, and it was still a bit wet, so we've just sort of let it lie on the deck in the sun and it'll dry out. And the number 2 genoa, being the big genoa, is going to go back on, and hopefully we can just run that genoa on all the time. And then, as we've got this stay sail option now built into the plans for the rig, having a new stay sail built to suit it, we should just be able to leave the big genoa up or on the furler and use it in light winds, and anything above 20 knots we put it away and we start using the stay sail. So that's why it's important to dry that number 3 out, because it may not get used very much for a while. It's good to have it as a spare. So it'll go in the bag and up the V-berth, and hopefully this weather holds for tomorrow and we can continue on with the rig preparations, labelling everything, going through all the connections, different halliards and ropes, just marking them so that the riggers know what's going on when it gets onto the bench. Cool, so let's just keep on rolling. Before we get started, ladies and gentlemen, the famous, the one and only Darrin Carter, the yacht rigger. Woo! Fantastic to have you here, mate. I can't tell you how grateful we are. And,
good, mate. You are very welcome. Not a problem.
And,
good, mate. You are very welcome. Not a problem.
This old boat's going to get a brand new shiny rig.
That's it.
We've picked a great day for it too, so far.
So far. And it's 6 in the morning, right?
Yeah, 6 in the morning, exactly.
You know, for your cap, you probably want somewhere in that 15%. So the caps are probably A-OK.
With Darrin's early arrival, our first order of business was to check the rig tension.
Okay. So it gives us an idea. Now, this is not the Bible.
Yep.
But this just gives us a percentage of the known tension in there at the moment.
Yep.
The breaking strain, so based on the breaking strain of the wire in 1/19.
Gotcha.
Not diform or compact.
Okay.
All right. So that one's not too bad. And so this is where we want to be, at least in here, at least.
Yep.
Really, monos can go to 15 to, if you're a boy racer, 20% easily.
Okay.
All right. So that's caps aren't so bad.
Yep.
All right. So what we'll do is we'll start recording that.
That one is 13.
Okay. All right. Do your lower for me.
This one is region 7.
See, that's so that's 8 mil.
Yep.
So 8mm, where's your 7? 7's way up here.
Yeah.
Way up here, mate.
Yeah.
So you don't even have 5% tension. So remember when I came on board and I went, that's too loose.
Yeah.
You don't even have 5% tension on the. Think about it this way: how can the energy that you're producing from brand new sails be transferred to the boat?
Yeah.
So we've got all this horsepower.
Yeah.
Ready to unleash, but it's just going like a big jellyfish. And the poor old boat's going, oh, come on, give me something to go with.
Mate, she's still no slouch, come on. It's just going to be quicker.
It's going to be quicker. All right, check that one.
That's fun.
Good. So that should slide in and out of there, so we need the wire wheel that.
Yep.
All right.
With the existing rig measured and recorded, it was all hands on deck in preparing the mast for removal.
So when we put it back in, Tef gel. Tef gel, Tef gel, Tef gel.
So you want to know what we're doing here?
Yeah, tell me what you've been doing.
Well, Darren and I have been measuring and plotting and planning for a preventer that is greatly improved on what was there before. See, look.
Look at that archaic piece of...
Yeah, we can do Dyneema and low friction rings much more reliable than a bit of Velcro and webbing. That's fine for a clue strap, but not for a preventer.
Well, it broke, so that's signifies it probably needed an upgrade.
Just going to bring it back on the booms. We've got heaps more leverage, it's safer, it's less likely to break the boom, and we'll be using Dyneema to lash it on there. For minimal expense, a big improvement.
Good. We love that combo.
Yeah.
All right.
How are you, mate?
So we're just setting up the cradles for the mast and the boom. And Darren is really efficient in getting everything right, and attention to detail here. So when the mast and the crane operators are coming in here, it's just a matter of laying them straight down. So it's a pleasure to watch. What have you got to say for yourself?
I'm sorry. It wasn't me. No, I don't know.
It's good to have you here.
Oh, thanks.
You're a great help. And we've been very grateful, Darren. Thank you very much, mate, for all your expertise and knowledge.
No, quite welcome, mate. Not a problem.
So, I've been making my favourite rainbow salad. Well, Jess up here. What are you doing, Jess?
Oh, I'm playing with my rope pawn. Look at this. These beautiful topping lifts and halyards that Darren made up for us. We've got a soft shackle with a protector sheath on it. Look at that beautiful
work of art.
Beautiful splicing work. Soft shackle, see?
Yeah.
And we got all the nice one we made the other day at the house. That's the new Genoa halyard. It's got a eye splice and a Flemish tail. And we've got all these the new spin halyard. We've got new sheets. We've got a new main sheet here. Look at this sexy red main sheet, will you?
Alright, show it. Oh, look at that. We've just worked.
See, look, another beautiful soft shackle. He's gone full bling. Look at the colour. And look at that Flemish eye. Oh,
you beauty.
That whipping. He whipped it good. He whipped it good.
Focusing, yeah. Show me the whipping in. Just roly. Haha, look at that.
Isn't that beautiful?
She pretty.
That's something to aspire to one day get nearly as good as Darren.
Yeah, that's, I don't know about that.
It's a big call, but you know, you've got to have purpose in life. That might be my new purpose.
I think that might be one of your ridiculous, setting your goals pretty high there, mate.
Yeah.
But look, all the new colour combos, we've worked through what's going to go through which entry points. There's some, it's going to be a whole different look, hey?
Yeah, it's going to be a nice combo. This is our one of our reef lines. So, action stations, we're about an hour off the crane getting here. You can see behind me here the mast and the boom have been very well prepared. We've got all our halyards out. Darren's done a beaut job of neatly tying these up. All our halyards are lashed back to the mast so that when they lift the mast they're going to tie a series of harness knots and loops around the mast, and then they're just going to basically put some tension on that so that it stabilizes it, and then we start loosening off all the stays. So all the shrouds and the backstays and the forestay start getting loosened off, and I'll basically lift our furler that disconnects from the pin at the bottom once it's loose, and the furler will get lashed back as well. Now when they start lifting the mast, we're going to have to be down inside the boat, guiding the base of the mast up through the cabin roof, and as you can see below me here, there's not much room for error, so we've got to sort of make sure we don't let that bash around too much as it's being lifted out. And it's been a pretty intense morning. We're all sorted. We weren't sure initially whether the mast step was bolted down. Turns out it wasn't. We had a chat to the previous owner, thanks Cal. It's just blocked and sitting there, so we don't have to worry about trying to get bolts out of that. I mean, we're about to move the boat over to the work berth, and then we're going to guide it in with ropes, and that's when all the action happens, with the crane being there and Darrin having to get everything out pretty quickly, and we'll be there to help him.
Here we go, off to meet the crane.
So what are you about to do now, Darrin?
I'm going to pop up the mast, mate, and get prepped for the crane sling. Luke will give us a spot where he wants the crane sling.
Yep.
But I'm going to pad up your mast so we don't get any scratches on it, mate. Doing it this way, mate, saves us taking the boat out of the water.
Yeah, exactly. Huge shout out to Luke and Gary from Trans-Pacific Marine for making it look easy.
Very exciting. There goes our mast.
That boat looks so weird without a mast.
She's naked. So
wow,
that went pretty well, you could say. I
that's
reckon.
Amazing how quickly that happened.
Yeah.
We had one little hiccup with the furler missing a few parts inside, so oh, you have it right there.
I have it right here. There was one slightly damaged bit, which is pretty much the only surprise so far.
Yeah, one of them's missing, so it's a bit of a mystery. I'm going to have to get onto the furler company in Tassie and get some more sent up. But apart from that, man, we pulled up at that jetty with that crane, 20 to 3, sorry.
23.
They were done. The mast was out on the ground by 10 past 3. Like, I'd have paid them by that stage, and they were driving off.
They were out. They were driving out by that point.
They were driving out, and then Darrin and myself and you pulled all that mast shoe off and all the rest of it, pulled apart that furler, and he's just left at 20 past 4.
Yeah, and it's all neatly tucked away, all the bits organised, all the stays labelled.
That's amazing. We're going to have a good restful night, start again fresh.
Yeah, he runs a tight ship, Darrin, doesn't he?
He sure does.
We're lucky.
He's a dynamo. We're
all
very
right.
lucky to have him on our side. Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
Have a beer. And that's all, folks. Stay tuned for part 2 of the re-rig with the yacht rigger Darrin Danger Mouse Carter next week.
I've hung around this place too alone. It's time for